dysfunction and just greed and idiocy and outright injustice that you encounter on a regular basis in the courtroom, there's got to be a way to undo all of that. Like, I know you have the answer in there somewhere in your brain. I don't know what it is.
I even want to delineate between officers in general and drug task force officers.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? Because I think there's a totally different, and I think that the lack of oversight, in that it's a different operation, covert, et cetera. And
it's because they don't face citizens protected by the Bill of Rights, but rather enemy combatants, because it's a real war. The drug war is real.
And with the ticket to bring in money as a forfeiture, it's culture, okay? But I think the answer is very simple. If these organizations have no accountability, how can you ever expect any kind of change?
Yes.
It can't happen. There's got to be some accountability. And when I mean there's no accountability, I mean the police have a monopoly on violence. They're the only people that can commit violence and legally do it. They have a monopoly on theft and robbery. The only people that can take other citizens' property, sell it at auction, keep it themselves for their enjoyment and betterment of their profession. Okay? This is a monopoly on things that they have a monopoly on lying, right? In their profession, the better they lie, the better they trick another citizen, the
move
more
up the ranks.
Okay? So
it's so true.
They are dominating in these areas of things that are completely against our cultural beliefs. And when held to a standard, what standard? Policing? That they encourage you to good cops lie, get a CI, fool somebody, and again, it's all in the name of the laws as they exist, but it creates a culture that has no accountability. And if there's no standard by which they have to follow, and they're not civilly liable, they get the benefit, not just the benefit of that. Michigan law currently is that a search warrant signed by a judge or magistrate is presumptively valid. The only way you can undo it is if you can show that they were lying in the affidavit with an offer of proof that you can show without just saying they're lying. You know what I mean? And it has to be some judge's threshold to get you a hearing, to get into the affidavit. Now, what about this? You may not know this, but you don't have to be a lawyer to be a magistrate. You do not have to be a lawyer to be a magistrate.
I want to be a magistrate.
It's good news, Charmie.
There are magistrates.
You can be.
Yes, you can.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Will you repeat what you said, that there's a law that a search warrant signed by a magistrate or a judge, there's a presumption?
Presumptively valid. In other words,
what does that mean?
It means this.
It's just a barrier to justice. That's a barrier to justice law?
It means this, that when a judge signs a search warrant, it is presumed that that the police filled out an affidavit. They signed it, swearing to tell the truth, and a judge read it. And within those four corners made a finding that probable cause that a crime had been committed within the location that they want to search exists, and they sign it or rubber stamp it.
It's opposite world. I've been in the courtroom with you a few times. Every time I do, you're like, hey, do you remember, like, you catch them lying about, and the judge doesn't do anything. And it's because of that presumption
of... Well, that's the statutes in Michigan. That's how it's treated in Michigan. Now,
it's opposite world.
But what's also happened when I say that there's no accountability, you can't sue. They can't sue.
From the minute they get up in the morning till they go to bed at night, they know they can do whatever they want.
Okay, so let me explain why. Because number one is qualified immunity for police officers. They have to, in order for them to be
all
found,
government agents, right?
Yes. In order for them to be found responsible for a 1983 action, they have to have. It has to be like more than reasonably known that they will have violated a constitutional right of somebody. You know what I mean? Like there's a case in California where they stole $250,000 out of the safe. The case was dismissed because it wasn't reasonably understood that stealing $250,000 would be a Fourth Amendment violation, and there was no precedent in the jurisdiction to support that. That's the kind of shenanigans that are taking place. So you have this qualified immunity, number one, so you can't sue them, and they're not responsible financially. The second thing is that when a Fourth Amendment violation takes place, as we read in this case, they said the use of that Stingray, even if it was a Fourth Amendment violation, the evidence that they seized was still admissible because of the inevitable discovery doctrine. There's all these like exceptions to so you violate the Fourth Amendment. However, inevitable discovery, if they do a inventory search of your vehicle, so they tow your car, they're not searching for evidence. They're doing an inventory search. Oh, what's this in the car? Right? And the reason they're doing the inventory search is to protect you, allegedly, so that, okay.
So helpful.
Here's the best one. Here's the best one.
On your head.
Yeah.
How
So
much you're worth.
Here's the best one. The reason why you suppress evidence when there's a Fourth Amendment violation is to punish the officer in their bad deeds. So, you see what I'm saying? Like, the idea is like, if the investigator that's seeking the search warrant does something nefarious, the punishment is against the police officer for their interaction with the search warrant. Once they get it to the judge or magistrate, you understand? Even if it was badly thought out, even if they're doing something bad, once that judge or magistrate gets it, the principle is that they are neutral, they are detached. And in that setting, once they sign it, independent of what they were doing, it cleanses it.
Michael, none of this is true.
This happens all the time. If
So
you know
what do
the-
you do with?
Listen,
How do you?
I can tell you. I can show you. And here's a better one. Here's a better one. The reasonable mistake of law.
None of it's true.
Reasonable mistake of law.
Yep, that's the I didn't mean it
Whoops,
law.
No, it means that I pulled you over because your car had a burnt out taillight. The ordinance for burnt out taillight is that no white light is illuminating at least 500 feet. Okay, this is the burnt out taillight. Every single car has multiple taillights. The ordinances that are written are when you had two taillights, right? So if one's out, bam. You need two lights illuminating white light at 500 feet. Every car has multiple lights.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, we
so
do.
they pull you over. One of those is burnt out, let's say. Doesn't mean you don't have lights on each side illuminating 500 feet. They pull you over, whatever, arrest you for some shit. Illegal stop. They pulled them over for something that wasn't a violation of law. But it's a reasonable mistake. Do you understand what I'm saying? Reasonable mistake. I didn't know the law.
I didn't mean it.
And I pulled you over. Oops. Now I'm going to arrest you. Forget why I pulled.
But
I mean, you understand?
Don't even worry about it because it was worth it. Because
Yeah,
you
it's fine.
needed to go to jail because there was
Yeah.
something wrong anyway.
Everything
I'm
worked
gonna
out in the
violate
end, even
your-
though I didn't mean
your,
it.
your rights.